Hello, and welcome to the podcast, episode 10, where today we're going to be discussing the OceanGate Titan. Am I late to this subject? I think I am. Oh well, it's still relevant. As long as, people keep talking about it, it's relevant, right? Is that how it works? I don't know. I'm not part of that group that keeps things relevant. I guess I could be. I don't really want to be though. Also, before we begin, I'm looking at a news article. And who's it from? Hold on, let me say who it's from first before AS. I don't know who that is. I never heard of him before. I'm looking at a news article right here, and it says, OceanGate CEO warning if Titan battery malfunctioned. I thought he was joking. I doubt that. We should probably get started before I go off topic even more. So the OceanGate Titan was a submersible that was set to look into the Titanic a little more, which, as many people know, sank in April something of 1912. And the submersible was probably the most idiotically designed thing made in recent times. And not just that, it was idiotically planned. There was no escape plan if something went wrong. There was communication breakdown. There were many red flags, just in general, and then of course the inevitable implosion. And these reasons are exactly why it imploded. And OceanGate knew about the problems. They just didn't want to do anything about it because, I don't know. I guess it's just because they wanted to make it seem like they were good people here. Because, obviously, if there's something wrong with something that they've made and people already know about the thing, they just they're telling themselves, oh, well, we've made this thing and it's not working, but the people already know about it. Let's just go ahead and release it. Who cares about people's safety? Well, clearly not OceanGate. Now, the Titan wasn't anything special, apart from the fact that it was idiotically built. It was small. It could fit in my room, I think. It was that small. It fit, I think it was 5 people. It was controlled by an Xbox 360 controller. With that, thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. Goodbye. That's all I need to say. The fact that it's controlled by a video game controller says it all. It's lazily built, and it's lazily built. I mean, boom, done. We're done talking here. It can be explained within 3 minutes and 20 seconds. And I've just found another article. OceanGate, this is from the Daily Mail. OceanGate worker was allegedly fired after airing concerns about Titan. So that's just how set OceanGate was to just get the Titan over with. I mean, they went so far. If it's one of those things where if you say something bad about what we've made, you're out. And that's, I don't think that's very, very, very rarely accepted by the majority. And it's definitely not smart or wise. If there's someone, or I'm sorry, excuse me, I got my words mixed up there. But if there's something that someone, says, if someone says that something is wrong with something, then you should probably go check it out. Because they could be right. And if they're wrong, they're wrong. They just made a little mistake. Or they're just purposely trying to hold something back for some reason. Now, I would like to point out that the OceanGate the OceanGate CEO was on board the Titan when it imploded, and he's a big reason why the Titan was so unreliable. It was his decision. He could have stopped all of the malfunctions with the Titan, but he just said, "Nope, I don't care because we built something that went into water. That's what we wanted, right, guys?" And I guess his little team agreed with that. They did they did make something that went into the water. I'll give them that. And many people don't have the resources to make something that can go into the water, or at least make something that can be controlled underwater. You have to make it waterproof, which is very hard. You have to make sure everything is going to not implode in the water, which they didn't do, as many people know. I've just realized or noticed that it seems to me like OceanGate is acting like nothing happened. This is from Yahoo News. OceanGate co-founder wants to send you to a floating city in Venus by 2050. What is this? Why? Why is OceanGate even still a company? They should. How many laws? I'm not sure how many lawsuits has OceanGate gone through since the accident. Hold on. Let me just. I can't type and talk at the same time. It's a bit difficult. Okay. Lawsuit. Legal threats. Lawsuit. 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 That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This isn't how many lawsuits. This is just how many articles have been posted about lawsuits to OceanGate. 1, 2. I'm not going to count all of them. Just if there's more than 10, that just should say it all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, that says it all. Oh, and according to the New York Post, OceanGate deletes all social media accounts in apparent bid to vanish from web. So I guess they're not really acting like nothing happened. I don't blame them from disappearing from their social media, because I would have done the same thing. Obviously, I probably and hopefully will never be in this situation, but if I were controlling all of that, I would have done the same thing. Now, people died. And I'm seeing a lot of people make fun of the implosion of the OceanGate. And they I'm not really sure whose side I'm on. They deserve it because they're idiots, but they don't deserve it because they died. You know what I mean? It's they're I don't know. Just there's so many people that just look at this as a way to make fun of it. You know what I mean? But does it deserve to be made fun of? I that's something for me to sleep on a few times, or maybe even talk to someone about that, because I'm not sure what a majority thinks of the whole thing. I've talked to some of my family members obviously about it, and they think the obvious, which is, oh, they're idiots, but at the same time, I'm amazed. So one of the reasons why it imploded was because it got stuck. Um, and I'm not really too sure. I'm not really too educated on, um, how it imploded. I'm just aware of the fact that it had no real structural strength and it was rushed. But it got stuck, and the passenger's weight destabilized the whole thing, which obviously isn't good. And I think I've seen footage from the interior of it. Let me just fact check that. Yeah, it's a bed. The OceanGate Titan, its interior is a bed with a television screen in the front. And when I say in the front, I mean in the front. It's, kind of embedded into the wall. It's just, I don't think submersibles are supposed to be like that. I could be wrong, but it's just, how do they see? I guess the television screen. Again, I'm not really too educated on this on this, on this whole thing. I never was really interested in, um, water exploration. And I was kind of interested by the Titanic for a little bit, but then, like many things, the interest kind of faded over time. Now remember, before, minutes, hours, seconds before the the submersible imploded, the comms broke. So there was no communication between the 5 people the in the submersible, and there was no communication between them and the people that were monitoring them in their top secret building somewhere. I don't know if they have a top secret building. They might, but I highly doubt it. But anyway, there was no communication between the two, so they had no information on what was going on. They knew it was stuck, but they had no idea what was going on. Or no complete idea what was going on, and they were pretty much clueless. And I'm not surprised they were clueless because they had no communication. And I'm not sure if they were able to monitor the submersible just by looking at some kind of radar. I don't think so. Although that might be how they know that it got stuck. Not sure though. Another thing that happened was the Titan's battery died. And I think one of the people that was monitoring them, when they were informed that Titan's battery had died, they thought they were joking because they were so close to getting to the Titanic. But that's not really something that you joke about, is it? Is it? I don't. When you're sending a vehicle or just anything where people's lives are at stake if you make the slightest mistake, is that something you joke about? No. In my mind it's not. Now let's not forget, this was a big expedition. The Titanic is several, I think, over 2 miles, maybe around 2 miles below sea level. Below sea level. That is 2 miles down. This was not a walk to the park. I mean, this was going 2 miles down in a small, tiny, compact tin can, essentially. This was like being this was like being kicked around in a soccer ball. That's exactly what this is. This is like being inside a soccer ball and just being kicked around. And OceanGate doesn't deserve any sympathy from this. I mean, they were, they were responsible for keeping people safe, and they didn't. They just ignored people's lives. They didn't just ignore the problems, they ignored people's lives. And sure, a big part of who, or a person that decided that the Titan was fine did die, but again, I'm not really sure if he deserves that. I'll come back to you on that one. How about? Now I don't know what this is going to do to future deep sea investigations, I don't know if it's going to put people on edge about it and say it's no longer safe until people just kind of start ignoring it, or is it going to make companies strive to make their deep sea exploration vehicles better? I think it's going to be both of the same of both worlds. I think I think companies are going to make better vehicles for deep sea exploration, but just because it's going to be in the future. Because as we move along, we're constantly evolving technologies. And that's going to, cause a lot of companies to make their vehicles better. And it's not just, deep sea exploration vehicles. It's going to just make vehicles better apart from cars because they're making all the cars electric, which I hate. But anyway, look at it any way you want. That's all I'm saying. You can look at it any way you want. It's not going to affect anything. It's not something where you say something and or you have an opinion about it, and you'll get trampled. At least I don't think. But you can look at it any way you want without a massive argument happening. I think again. I think so. With that, I think it is time to end this episode. Have a good day, and don't trust OceanGate.